Lespicable. Deserving hatred and contempt. Lesser known. Not as well or widely known as others of the same kind. Lie down. Chiefly Brit. Life skill. A skill required for everyday life. Life-threatening. Potentially fatal. Light-fingered. Informal, prone to steal. Lightfoot. Fast and nimble on one's feet. Limp-wristed. Informal, weak, feeble, or effeminate. Lip-read. Understand speech from watching a speaker's lip movements. Discordant. Not in harmony or agreement. Literal. Using or interpreting words in their usual or most basic sense. Lid-bearing. Bearing live young rather than laying eggs. Lived in. Showing comforting signs of wear and habitation. Locoweed. A plant of the pea family that, if eaten by livestock, can cause a brain lodger disorder marked by unpredictable behavior and loss of coordination. Long-lived. Living or lasting a long time. Long playing. 12 inches, about 30 centimeters, in diameter and designed to rotate at 33% revolutions per minute. Ionian. A person from the Ionian Islands, a chain of islands off the western coast of mainland Greece. Launic. Relating to a classical order of architecture characterized by a column with scroll shapes on the top. Loosey-goosey. Informal, one not tense, relaxed and comfortable. Lop-eared. Having drooping ears. Low-tech. Variant spelling of low-tech. Lotus-eater. A person who indulges in pleasure and luxury rather than dealing with practical concerns. Levine. Informal, especially among hippies in the 1960s, a gathering at which people are encouraged to express friendship and physical attraction. Lovinamist. A plant whose blue flowers are surrounded by thread-like green bracts, modified leaves. Love life. Lovey-dovey. Informal, very affectionate or romantic. Loafy. Variant spelling of low F1. Low frequency. Low grade. Of low quality or strength. Low impact. Of physical exercises, putting little stress on the body. Low level. Of relatively little importance. Low-lying. Not far above sea level. Low profile. Avoiding attention or publicity. Low slung. Lower in height or closer to the ground than usual. Iranian. A person from Iran. Lucubration. Literary, a scholarly or pedantic piece of writing. Lugworm. A worm that lives in muddy sand, used as fishing bait. Lumpfish. A North Atlantic fish with edible roe. Lumpish. Stupid or slow-witted. Lustful. Filled with strong sexual desire. Vise. The Ivy League schools collectively, or other schools perceived as being of equal stature. Lichgate. A roofed gateway to a churchyard. Iyengar. A type of yoga focusing on the correct alignment of the body, making use of straps, wooden blocks, and other objects to help achieve the correct postures. Lynx-eyed. Keen-sighted. Matriculation. An opening between the supports of a projecting structure, through which stones or burning objects could be dropped on attackers. Machine-readable. In a form that a computer can process. Mafana. Tomorrow, or at some time in the future. Mafana. Tomorrow, or at some time in the future. Magniloquent. Formal using language that is excessively elaborate or pompous. Makido. Makeshift or temporary. Mammivore. Relating to the breasts or the milk-producing organs of other mammals. Man-at-arms. Old use a soldier. Mangelwurzel. Another term for mangold. Man-hour. An hour regarded in terms of the amount of work that can be done by one person within this period. Manpower. The number of people working or available for work or service. Man-sized. Of the size of a human being. Mantelshelf. A shelf forming the top of a mantelpiece. Market maker. Stock exchange, a dealer in securities or other assets who undertakes to buy or sell at specified prices at all times. Massniac. A person who behaves in a very wild or violent way. Mass market. Produced in large quantities for many people. Mass produce. Produce goods in large quantities, using machinery. Master-at-arms. A warrant officer responsible for police duties on board a ship. Materfamilias. The female head of a family or household. Materiel. Military materials and equipment. Matter-of-fact. Unemotional and practical. Matutinal. Formal relating to or happening in the morning. Mayapple. An herbaceous plant of the barberry family with large, deeply divided leaves. Maysayer. A person who denies or opposes something. Maslarria. A disease that causes recurrent attacks of fever, caused by a parasite that is transmitted by mosquitoes. Maslarkey. Informal nonsense. Maslicious. Meaning to harm other people. Masline. Harmful or evil. Maslinger. Pretend to be ill in order to avoid work. Masnia. Mental illness characterized by an overactive imagination and excited activity. Masnila. Strong brown paper. Ma'am. A term of respectful or polite address used for a woman, madam. Mealy-mouthed. Reluctant to speak frankly. Measles. An infectious disease spread by a virus, causing fever and ard rash. Megaflop. Computing a unit of computing speed equal to 1 million or, strictly, 1,048,576 floating point operations per second. Megapode. A large Australasian or Southeast Asian bird that lives on the ground and builds a mound of plant debris to incubate its eggs. Megaz. Large. Meitnerium. A very unstable chemical element made by high-energy atomic collisions. Meninge. A serious disease in which the meninges around the brain and spinal cord become inflamed owing to infection with a bacterium or virus. Meow. The characteristic cry of a cat. Mecai. A heavy silvery white liquid metallic element used in some thermometers and barometers. Merry-go-round. A revolving machine with model horses or cars on which people ride for amusement. Metallize. Coat something with a layer of metal. Methadone. Trademark, another term for methamphetamine. Mule. Cry feebly. Midly off the road. Of views, not extreme, moderate. Millimillimeter. 1/1000th of a meter. Mind-bending. Informal, altering one's state of mind. Minicam. A handheld video camera. Mini pill. A contraceptive pill containing progestin and not estrogen. Minorcan. A person from Minorca. Miscall. Call something by a wrong or inappropriate name. Misconceive. Fail to understand something correctly. Misdial. Dial a telephone number incorrectly. Misericord. A ledge projecting from the underside of a hinged seat in a choir stall in a church, giving support to someone standing when the seat is folded up. Misgovern. Govern a country unfairly or poorly. Misname. Give a wrong or inappropriate name to someone or something. Missai. A book containing the prayers and responses used in the Catholic Mass. Misspend. Spend time or money foolishly or wastefully. Mistranslate. Translate something incorrectly. Mitable. Impossible to imitate, unique. Mix it up. Informal, suffering from psychological or emotional problems. Maroon. Leave someone alone in a remote or inaccessible place. Marrow. A soft fatty substance in the cavities of bones, in which blood cells are produced. Mini. Very small of its kind, miniature. Mono. Short for infectious mononucleosis. Mono, also mon before a vowel. Mojo. A magic charm or spell. Moblog. A weblog whose content originates from cell phones and other portable wireless devices. Mochaccino. A cappuccino containing chocolate syrup or flavoring. Mock heroic. Imitating the grandiose style of heroic literature in order to mock an ordinary subject. Moment pop. Informal, referring to a small store or business of a type often run by a married couple. Monarch. A king, queen, or emperor who rules a country or empire. Money grubbing. Informal, greedily concerned with making money. Monocotyledon. A flowering plant whose seeds have a single cotyledon, seed leaf. Moon-faced. Having a round face. Moth-eaten. Damaged or apparently damaged by clothes moths, shabby or threadbare. Mother-in-law. The mother of one's husband or wife. Mother of pearl. A smooth pearly substance lining the shells of oysters and certain other mollusks. Motorize. Equip a vehicle or device with a motor to operate or propel it. Mousseline. A fine fabric similar to muslin. Mouthpart. Any of the projecting parts surrounding the mouth of an insect or similar creature and adapted for feeding. Mouth-to-mouth. In which a person breathes into someone's lungs through their mouth. Mover. A person whose job is to remove and transport furniture from one building, especially a house, to another. Imposing. Grand and impressive. Practical. Not sensible or realistic. Impressionable. Easily influenced. Mud bank. A bank of mud on the bed of a river or the bottom of the sea. Mud bath. A very muddy place. Multi. More than one, many. Multiple choice. Accompanied by several possible answers, from which the candidate must choose the correct one. Music. The art of combining vocal or instrumental sounds in a pleasing way. Must-see. Informal something that should or must be seen, especially a remarkable sight or entertainment. Muttonhead. Informal, old use or dated a stupid person. Mythomania. An abnormal tendency to exaggerate or tell lies. Nair. A person whose money and property are worth $1 million or more. Namby-pamby. Weak and ineffectual. Name check. A public mention of someone's name, especially to express gratitude or for publicity purposes. Nasalize. Pronounce something nasally. Nasal. Relating to the nose. Navel-gazing. Self-satisfied concentration on oneself or a single issue. Incurable. Not able to be cured. Near term. Short term. Nebula. A cloud of gas or dust in outer space, visible in the night sky either as a bright patch or as a dark silhouette against other glowing matter. Necrophobia. Extreme or irrational fear of death or dead bodies. Nemesia. A plant related to the snapdragon, grown for its colorful funnel-shaped flowers. Neo-Impressionism. An artistic movement that aimed to improve on Impressionism through a systematic approach to form and color. Neo-Impressionism. An artistic movement that aimed to improve on Impressionism through a systematic approach to form and color. Netherlander. A person from the Netherlands. Newsy. Informal, full of news. Ne'er. Literary or dialect never. Ne'er-do-well. A person who is lazy and irresponsible. Infection. The process of. Niblet. A small piece of food. Nickel and dime. Put a financial strain on someone by charging small amounts for many minor services. Nitrify. Convert ammonia or another nitrogen compound into nitrites or nitrates. Nitrocellulose. A highly flammable material used to make explosives and celluloid. Nitty-gritty. Informal, the most important aspects or basic details of a matter. Nada. Informal, nothing. Navy. The branch of a country's armed services that carries out military operations at sea. Nobelium. A very unstable chemical element made by high-energy collisions. Nostern. A short musical composition of aromantic and dreamy nature. Non-allergenic. Not causing an allergic reaction. Non-belligerent. Not engaged in a war or conflict. Non-conductor. A substance that does not conduct heat or electricity. Non-contributory. Funded by regular payments by the employer, not the employee. Non-drinker. A person who does not drink alcohol. Non-natural. Not produced by or involving natural processes. Non-nonsense. Simple and straightforward, sensible. Non-person. A person who is ignored or forgotten. North-northeast. The direction midway between north and northeast. North-northwest. The direction midway between north and northwest. Nauseum. A minute blood-sucking insect, especially a midge. Nauseum. A minute blood-sucking insect, especially a midge. Knows how. A person who has made a reservation or appointment but neither keeps nor cancels it. Note perfect. Technically perfect. Novelize. Convert a story, screenplay, or play into a novel. Known. In which success or a favorable outcome is impossible. Stability. Lack of stability. Intelligent. Good at learning, understanding, and thinking. Introductory. Forming an introduction, basic. Intuitive. Able to understand or know something without conscious reasoning. Invidious. Unfair and likely to arouse resentment or anger in other people. Invincible. Too powerful to be defeated or overcome. Oarlock. A fitting on the side of a boat for holding an oar. Obsessive-compulsive. Relating to a mental condition in which a person feels compelled to carry out certain actions over and over again. Oceanarium. A large seawater aquarium. Octuplet. Each of 8 children born at one birth. Oddball. Informal, a strange or eccentric person. Oddment. An item or piece left over from a larger piece or set. Oddson. Especially of a horse, rated as more likely than evens to win. Off-color. Slightly indecent or obscene. Officialese. Formal or complicated language typical of that used in official documents. Off-key. And adverb 1 music not having the correct tone or pitch. Off-label. Prescribed in a way or for a condition not covered by the original FDA approval. Off-limits. Out of bounds. Oil can. A can with a long nozzle used for applying oil to machinery. Oil stone. A fine-grained flat stone used with oil for sharpening chisels, planes, or other tools. Old growth. Never felled, harvested, or cleared, mature. Old world. Belonging to or associated with past times, quaint. Elective. Done by or involving all the members of a group. Omazni. A person from Oman in the Arabian Peninsula. Omaznii. A person from Oman in the Arabian Peninsula. Omnicompetent. Able to deal with all matters. Once of F. Informal, a rapid inspection, search, or piece of work. One-dimensional. Not complex or deep, superficial. One-liner. Informal, a short joke or witty remark. Unknown. Informal, a face-to-face encounter. One-tune. And adverb referring to a situation in which two people come into direct contact or opposition. Opening. A space or gap that allows access or passage. Opera. A dramatic work set to music for singers and musicians. Open-ended. Having no limit decided in advance. Open enrollment. Open-handed. Of a blow, delivered with the palm of the hand. Open-necked. Worn with the collar unbuttoned and without a tie. Open pit. In which coal or ore is extracted from a level near the Earth's surface, rather than from shafts. Open plan. Having few or no dividing walls. Open-toed. Not covering the toes. Opium. An addictive drug prepared from the juice of a poppy, used to alter mood or behavior and in medicine as a painkiller. Opossum. An American marsupial mammal with a tail that it can use for grasping. Oralism. The teaching of deaf people to communicate by the use of speech and lip reading rather than sign language. Ordinand. A person who is training to be ordained as a priest or minister. Origami. The Japanese art of folding paper into decorative shapes and figures. Osmosis. A process by which molecules of a solvent pass through a semi-permeable membrane from a less concentrated solution into a more concentrated one. Ossicle. A very small bone, especially one of those that transmit sounds within the middle ear. Ouzo. An anise-flavored Greek liqueur. Oval. Having a rounded and slightly elongated outline, egg-shaped. Oven ready. Sold as a prepared dish, ready for cooking in an oven. Overarch. Form an arch over something. Overclass. Often derogatory, a privileged, wealthy, or powerful section of society. Overdetermine. Formal determine or account for something in more than one way or with more conditions than are necessary. Overdevelop. Develop something too much. Overelaborate. Excessively elaborate. Overfamiliar. Too well known. Overfish. Take too many fish from the sea or a river or lake, greatly reducing the stock. Overgarment. An item of clothing worn over others. Overgeneralize. Express something in a way that is too general. Overgraze. Graze grassland too heavily. Overlarge. Too large. Overmaster. Literary overcome someone or something. Overpaint. Cover something with paint. Overshirt. A loose shirt worn over other clothes. Overshoe. A protective shoe worn over a normal shoe. Overspecialize. Concentrate too much on one aspect of something. O'er. And preposition old-fashioned or literary form of over. Page-turner. Informal and exciting book. Paginate. Give numbers to the pages of a book, journal, document, etc. Paid up. Of a member of an organization, with all subscriptions paid in full. Palace. A large, grand building, especially in Italy. Palliasse. A straw mattress. Panatella. A long thin cigar. Pan-fry. Fry food in a pan in shallow fat. Pantechnicon. Brit. Pantile. A roof tile curved to form an S-shaped section, fitted to overlap its neighbor. Paper thin. Very thin or insubstantial. Poppadom. A thin circular piece of bread fried until crisp. Parhelion. A bright spot in the sky on either side of the sun, formed by the refraction of sunlight through ice crystals high in the atmosphere. Parti-colored. Having two or more different colors. Pasque-flower. A spring. Passive. Accepting or allowing what happens or what others do, without reacting or resisting. Paste up. A document prepared for copying or printing by pasting various sections on a backing. Pastrami. Highly seasoned smoked beef. Patchouli. A scented oil obtained from a Southeast Asian shrub, used in perfumery, insecticides, and medicine. Pay-per-view. A television service in which viewers have to pay a fee to watch a particular program. Pear-shaped. Having hips that are disproportionately wide in relation to the upper part of the body. Peasouper. Chiefly Brit. Peculation. Formal embezzlement of public funds. Pedestrianize. Make a street or area accessible only to pedestrians. Peer-to-peer. Computing denoting a network in which each computer can act as a server for the others, allowing shared access to files and peripherals without the need for a central server. Pell-mell. and adverb in a confused, rushed, or disorderly way. Penny farthing. Chiefly writ. Penny pinching. Unwilling to spend money, stingy. Pentaprism. A five-sided prism that deviates light from any direction, used chiefly in camera viewfinders. Pent up. Not expressed or released. Penury. The state of having no money, great poverty. Percuss. Gently tap a part of the body as part of a medical diagnosis. Perdurable. Literary enduring continuously, permanent. Perfervid. Literary intensely passionate or enthusiastic. Perpetual. Never-ending or changing. Personate. Formal pretend to be someone else, especially for fraudulent purposes. Peruke. Old use a wig or periwig. Pettish. Childishly sulky. Phalangeal. Anatomy relating to a phalanx or the phalanges. Phlebotomy. The surgical opening or puncture of a vein to withdraw blood or introduce a fluid. Phonian. Another term for call-in. Phone jack. Photocell. Short for photoelectric cell. Underscore photochem. Phyem. A category in the classification of animals and plants that ranks above class and below kingdom. Phylloquinone. Vitamin K, a compound found in cabbage, spinach, and other leafy green vegetables, and essential for blood clotting. Physical. Relating to the body as opposed to the mind. Pick-me-up. Informal, a thing that makes one feel more energetic or cheerful. Picture postcard. Prettily picturesque. Pied-à-terre. A small apartment or house kept for occasional use, one's permanent home being elsewhere. Pafada. A papier-mâché figure of an animal, hung in the air at festivals so that children can smash it with sticks and share the contents. Pigeon-toed. Having the toes or feet turned inward. Pince-nez. A pair of glasses with a nose clip instead of earpieces. Pinch hit. Baseball bat in place of another player, typically at a critical point in the game. Pin tuck. A very narrow ornamental tuck in an item of clothing. Pionk. Informal, put something down heavily or carelessly. Pistol whip. Hit or beat someone with the butt of a pistol. Pitch perfect. Exactly right in tone, mood, or pitch. Pitter-patter. A sound of quick light steps or taps. Pixel. Any of the tiny areas of light on a display screen that make up an image. Plasticize. Treat or coat something with plastic. Play-by-play. A detailed running commentary on an athletic contest. Plus size. Of a larger size than normal, outsize. Poetaster. A person who writes very bad poetry. Poeticize. Make something poetic. Point-to-point. Brie. Polycotton. Fabric made from a mixture of cotton and polyester fiber. Polynosic. A rayon and polyester yarn with a soft finish, used mainly in clothing. Ponytail. A hairstyle in which the hair is drawn back and tied at the back of the head. Poobah. A pompous or self-important person who has a great deal of influence or holds many posts at the same time. Poo-poo. Informal dismiss an idea or suggestion as being foolish or impractical. Poison. A substance that causes death or injury when swallowed or absorbed by a living organism. Porous. Having tiny spaces through which liquid or air may pass. Poppadom. Variant spelling of poppadom. Pop art. Popeed. Informal, having bulging or staring eyes. Papa. Informal term for father. Portabee. Able to be carried or moved easily. Portrayal. A depiction or representation of something. Post-Impressionism. A late 19th century and early 20th century style of art in which emphasis was placed on the emotions of the artist, as expressed by color, line, and shape. Post-industrial. No longer relying on heavy industry. Potation. Old use or humorous one, the action of drinking alcohol. Pot-au-feu. A French soup of meat and vegetables cooked in a large pot. Pot-bound. Having roots that fill the flower pot, leaving no room for them to expand. Poverty-stricken. Extremely poor. Pager. A small radio device that bleeps or vibrates to inform the bearer that someone wishes to contact them or that it has received a short text message. Palling. Causing horror and dismay. Panacea. A solution or remedy for all difficulties or diseases. Panama. A man's wide-brimmed hat of straw-like material, originally made from the leaves of a tropical palm tree. Pancreatitis. Inflammation of the pancreas. Panzer. A German armored military unit. Para. Informal, a paratrooper. Paranormal. Beyond the scope of normal scientific understanding. Paroxysm. A sudden. Parson. Dated, informal, any member of the clergy, especially a Protestant one. Passageway. A corridor or other narrow passage between buildings or rooms. Passing. Done quickly and casually. Pastern. The part of a horse's or other animal's foot between the fetlock and the hoof. Paste up. A document prepared for copying or printing by pasting various sections on a backing. Pastiche. An artistic work in a style that imitates that of another work, artist, or period. Pastry. A dough of flour, fat, and water, used as a base and covering in baked dishes such as pies. Pasturage. Land used for grazing cattle or sheep. Peeling. Attractive or interesting. Perceive. Become aware of something through the senses. Persist. Continue doing something in spite of difficulty or opposition. Piazza. A public square or marketplace, especially in Italy. Piggery. A farm or enclosure where pigs are kept. Pirogue. A long narrow canoe made from a single tree trunk. Pizzicato. An adjective plucking the strings of a violin or other stringed instrument with the finger. Postpone. Arrange for something to take place at a time later than that first planned. Powwow. Informal, a meeting for discussion. Prehensive. Worried or afraid about what might happen. Pronoun. A word used instead of a noun to indicate someone or something already mentioned or known, e.g., I, she, this. Propane. A flammable gas present in natural gas and used as bottled fuel. Psychosexual. Relating to or involving the psychological aspects of a person's sexual feelings. Purser. A ship's officer who keeps the accounts, especially on a passenger vessel. Prearrange. Arrange or agree upon something in advance. Preciosity. Affectation or pretentiousness in language or art. Pre-cook. Cook something in advance. Predestine. Of God or fate, decide in advance that something will happen or that someone will have a particular fate. Predeterminer. Grammar, a word or phrase that occurs before a determiner, for example both or a lot of. Predigest. Of an animal, treat food by a process similar to digestion to make it more easily digestible when subsequently eaten. Pre-exist. Exist before or from an earlier time. Preordain. Decide or determine something beforehand. Preprandial. Formal or humorous done or taken before dinner. Pre-program. Program a computer in advance for ease of use. Pre-Raphaelite. A member of a group of English 19th century artists who painted in the style of Italian artists from before the time of Raphael. Pre-shrunk. Shrunk during manufacture to prevent further shrinking when in use. President-elect. A person who has been elected president but has not yet taken office. Prie-dieu. A piece of furniture used for prayer, consisting of a kneeling surface and a narrow upright front with a rest for the elbows or for books. Prokaryote. Variant spelling of prokaryote. Profit sharing. A system in which the people who work for a company receive a direct share of its profits. Prognathous. Projecting. Prolegomenon. A critical or discursive introduction to a book. Propeller. A device that uses two or more angled blades to propel a ship or aircraft. Proprivilege. A special right or advantage granted or available to a particular person or group. Psephology. The statistical study of elections and trends in voting. Pudendum. The external genitals, especially those of a woman. Poliolate. Reproduce or spread so as to become abundant. Pump action. referring to a firearm capable of firing several shots in succession without reloading, in which a new round is brought into the chamber by a slide action in line with the barrel. Punch-up. Informal, chiefly Brit. Punctilio. A fine or trivial point of behavior or procedure. Perny. Physically small and weak. Purposeful. Having or showing determination. Push start. Start a motor vehicle by pushing it in order to make the engine turn. Puttee. A long strip of cloth wound around the leg from ankle to knee for protection and support. Pizzazz. Variant spelling of pizzazz. Cag. A joke or funny story. Kazania. A tropical herbaceous plant of the daisy family, with flowers that are typically orange or yellow. Keys. Variant spelling of G's. Kyo. Relating to the earth. Shig. Music. A lively piece of music in the style of a dance, typically of the Renaissance or Baroque period. Kyant. An imaginary or mythical being of human form but superhuman size. Kig. Chiefly historical, a light two-wheeled carriage pulled by one horse. Gravy. A sauce made by adding stock, flour, and seasoning to the fat and juices that come out of meat during cooking. Quarter hour. Also quarter of an hour, a period of 15 minutes. Quesadilla. A hot tortilla with a spicy cheese filling. Quick-tempered. Easily angered. Quick-witted. Able to think or respond quickly. QIP. Informal cheat or swindle someone. Rabble-rouser. A person who stirs up popular opinion, especially for political reasons. Racialize. Make something racial or. Rack and pinion. Using a smile. Radio-controlled. Controllable from a distance by radio. Ragamuffin. Variant spelling of ragamuffin. Raggle-taggle. Untidy and scruffy. Rainswept. Frequently or recently exposed to rain and wind. Rake off. Informal, a share of the profits from a deal, especially one that is underhanded or illegal. Rallentando. And adjective music, another term for retardando. Rave up. Brit. Razzle-dazzle. Informa. Exciting or noisy activity, intended to attract attention. Resing. Loud and shrill. Ready mixed. Having some or all of the constituents already mixed together. Ready tower. Sold through stores rather than made to order for an individual customer. Rebarbative. Formal, unattractive and unpleasant or offensive. Red-blooded. Full of strength and energy, virile. Red-faced. Embarrassed or ashamed. Redial. Dial a telephone number again.